everybody, it's Sara. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you all about my autumn TBR. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the weather because it is still like 28 degrees Celsius as I'm filming this video, but to be honest, I don't really know what I want to read this fall, which is very strange because usually my autumn TBR is the one that I'm the most excited about every year, and I usually have like so many books planned for this time of the year, but who knows what's happening this year. Honestly, it's been a weird year. So usually in these videos I talk about 5 books that I am certain that I want to read during that season. Today I have 3 of them, and I also have some potential TBR contenders to talk about. So without any further ado, let's dive into this little TBR. The first book is actually the book that I am currently reading, and it should be absolutely no surprise to anyone who has anything to do with BookTube or BookTok or Bookstagram, because this book I'm pretty sure is on everybody's autumn TBR, and that book is Babel by R.F. Kuang, or Babel. I'm not 100% sure how you're supposed to pronounce the title. I personally was under the impression that I had to pronounce it like Marcus Mumford from Mumford & Sons, because they do have an album and a song called Babel, but then I've heard other people pronouncing it Babel, and now I'm not certain anymore, and I think Marcus Mumford might have bamboozled me. As I've said, a lot of people are reading this book right now, so you probably already know kind of what it is about, but in case you don't, it's this kind of like historical fiction fantasy dark academia novel, and it's about the University of Oxford and their role in colonialism through translation. And so far I'm only around like 46 pages in, but I am already so intrigued, and I can't wait to keep on reading this one. It has been getting some raving reviews. Everybody is obsessed with it, and apparently it starts very slow at the beginning, but then it gets completely insane. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how that goes. This is also our pick for the Tea Leaves Book Club for the months of September and October, so if you want to join us in reading this book, you still have plenty of time. And yeah, very excited to keep on reading this one. I think it's going to be a banger. Then the next book on my autumn TBR is yet another very chunky historical fantasy novel, which is a genre that I've been gravitating more and more towards this year, and that book is Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. I always want to say L.M. Rio, who is the author of If We Were Villains. They are not the same person. And yeah, this is a beast of a novel, and it sounds very intriguing. All that I know about it is that, like I said, it's a historical fiction novel. I think it takes place in Europe, mainly I think around London and Edinburgh potentially, and it's about these kids who have powers, and that's all that I know about it. Honestly, I wish I could give you like a better synopsis. Let's read the flap together, shall we? England, 1882. In Victorian London, 2 children with mysterious powers are hunted by a figure of darkness, a man made of smoke. 16-year-old Charlie Ovid, despite a brutal childhood in Mississippi, doesn't have a scar on him. His body heals itself whether he wants it or not. Marlowe, a foundling from a railway freight car, shines with a strange bluish light. He can melt or mend flesh. When a jaded female detective is recruited to escort them to safety, all 3 begin a journey into the nature of difference and belonging and the shadowy edges of the monstrous. That sounds so great. Honestly, I don't even need to know more. Ever since I saw this cover, I've just been itching to read it because it's just so beautiful, and it definitely feels like a book that I'm going to enjoy. So yeah, definitely very intrigued by this once again, and I can't wait to dive in sooner rather than later, because I think I have to bring this one back to the library very soon. Anyway, and then the third book that I want to read this fall is actually a book that I'm carrying over from my summer TBR, and that book is Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. This is a classic about this woman named Beteshba who has 3 different relationships with 3 very different men, and so we follow her through all of these different relationships and we see how they affect her. I have seen the movie adaptation that came out a couple of years ago for this novel, but I don't really remember much about it. I just remember really enjoying the movie, so I've been meaning to read the book for a little while, and I feel like autumn is also a great time to read this. I wanted to read this summer, but like I said, it just did not happen, and I'm still very interested in reading it soon, and I am not usually in the mood for a classic, so I have to take it when it strikes. So that is what I shall do. So these are the 3 books that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be in the mood to read this autumn. I mean, I've already started Babel, and Ordinary Monsters just sounds perfect for this time of the year, so I think I'm going to dive right into this one after Babel. But now let's talk about some TBR contenders, if you will. The first one is Down Comes the Night by Alison Saft. This is a book that I read the first chapter of earlier this year for a video, and ever since I've been thinking about this one, and I feel like it definitely has kind of like fall vibes. I think this is a book about these 2 characters who are stuck in a manor together, and they have to survive because the manor is a very dangerous place. It's a standalone YA fantasy, and it just looks very dark and eerie and mysterious, so it definitely calls out to me. Also, this cover is absolutely amazing. It definitely caught my eye ever since this book has come out, so I've been intrigued about this one for a little while. Then the next book that I'm thinking about reading soon is Ballad for Sophie by Felipe Melo. This is a book that I have seen everywhere while I was traveling in Portugal and in France, and I had also heard Ariel and Raylene from the podcast Books Unbound talking about it, and Ariel really loved this graphic novel, so I've been thinking about reading it ever since I heard them talk about it on the podcast, and I'm definitely very interested in this one. It's basically about this young journalist who wants to interview this pianist, but he doesn't want to like talk about his life, but then finally they strike a deal and he basically tells her his life story, and apparently it's very beautiful, especially if you love music, and I personally really do. So that sounds very interesting to me. Also, the art looks absolutely gorgeous. Like I've said, I've seen it around in different bookstores as I was traveling in August, and every single time I was just like, do I want to buy this? Then I ended up not buying it because it was also a very heavy book. But yeah, definitely very intrigued by this one. I definitely want to give it a try soon. And also, graphic novels are great when you're kind of like into a little bit of a reading slump, like I've been for the entire year basically. So yeah, definitely very excited about this one. And then I also have 2 books from my shelves that I would love to get to soon. The first one being Beren and Luthien from J.R.R. Tolkien. This was also on my summer TBR, my kind of like unhinged summer TBR, where I said that I wanted to read all of the unread books on my shelves during the summer. That did not happen, as was to be expected, but you know, this is still a book that I would really love to read soon. And then the other one is Outlawed by Anna Nord. This is a kind of like feminist western that was also on my summer TBR, and I'm definitely very intrigued in this one because I've never heard of a feminist western, so I definitely want to see what I think about this one. I've also put a couple of books on hold at the library just to have different options. I also have The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, which I still believe that I can probably read this year. We'll see how that goes. And I'm also thinking about rereading some different autumn books, like If We Were Villains or the Truly Devious series. But yeah, we'll see where my mood takes me. Honestly, I just miss 2018, 2019 Sara, who could just pick up any book on a whim and get into it immediately and finish it, because wow, did I not appreciate this power when I had it, because now it is gone, and honestly, to read or not to read? That is the question. But there we go. I feel like this video was very rambly, but we got through it in the end. This is my very tentative autumn TBR. If you have any books recommendations for autumn, definitely let me know in the comments down below. And I hope that you enjoyed this one. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!